Hey everyone, my name is Neil Karski and I'm the CEO of Patient Engine, a seven-figure digital marketing, lead conversion, and coaching agency for high-ticket aesthetics providers. And I would like to personally welcome you to the Aesthetic Millionaires Show, where we sit down with industry entrepreneurs to talk about their personal journeys and discuss proven growth strategies. My genuine hope is that through this podcast, we can create more success stories in this industry and help more business owners scale past their competition. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to another episode of Aesthetic Millionaires Show. Today, I'm joined by a beautiful couple from Oklahoma City. They're Clarke and Kayla from HaleStorm Medical. They're the owners and founders. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us today.
Glad to be here.
Let's just dive in, guys. What got you into this crazy industry that we call aesthetics?
I think that since I was 5 years old, I thought I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. And as life grew, and Clarke and I met, I decided that, going into aesthetics was always something I wanted to do. I wanted to build a medicine foundation first. So I went to PA school, worked in general surgery, got a really good foundation, and worked on my skill set. I was assisting in the operating room, doing a lot of procedures in clinic. During my time with the general surgeon, I also was promoted to a practice manager. So I was able to start learning the business side of a medical practice. And at that time, this is about 10 years ago, aesthetics was starting to pick up. So we had a lot of our patients asking us, why are you not offering Botox, filler? And so I took the steps to get trained. So it was kind of a natural progression for me. I've always been the girl where everyone's like, where'd you get that lipstick? Where'd you get that outfit? Where people trust my advice when it came to aesthetics in general. And so it was kind of a natural flow for me to transition into the industry.
How'd you loop your husband in this?
She didn't have to do much convincing. Once she got into the industry, obviously I see her passion and I see her love for it. And I get to see her product on the daily with her patients. But she came to me whenever she was working with another doctor in another med spa, and we started going over some of the numbers, and it just made sense to do her own thing. I have a business background, and once I took a look at those, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. Let's go. Let's jump off this cliff and let's do it together.
Yeah, I really like that you guys have a combination of a provider and business hybrid, because a lot of people go into this industry and they're either a provider, they're like, I want more, or they're a business owner, or they're an entrepreneur, they come in with a business background, right? And they have to fill the provider gap. So I think that hybrid probably gave you guys quite a bit of a competitive advantage when you were starting, right? I think one of the biggest things that keeps repeating itself in this podcast and these conversations with seven-figure entrepreneurs in our industry is like, it's a lonely space in the beginning to be in. So the more support you can have and the more knowledge you can leverage in both, I would call it fulfillment, like getting clients results. And that's where you were kind of, really focused, Kayla, and then Clarke brought in some of the business background, some of the knowledge of like numbers, right? I think that's big. That's a lot of things people are lacking. Like, you would be surprised how many people don't have a clean P&L, right? Which is crazy, right? So that's awesome. So when did the business start?
So we started in fall of 2023. So we've been open almost 2 years.
Wow. Okay. Did you hit seven figures year one?
Yes.
Cool. Love it. I love it. Let's unfold a lot of that, because I'm sure it didn't come as a miracle, right? How did you start out? What did the staffing situation look like? What kind of services did you guys provide? And then how did you market yourself?
So I was very lucky, like I said, to enter the industry before it was saturated. Also, with that being said, I was able to use social media marketing and jump into that space before it became big. So I started with free education with my social media, just educating patients of what they weren't getting. So they would come in more knowledgeable to the appointments, which would be great. Um, and I kind of took off from there. The mainstay of my business has been social media marketing. To be honest, we have not had to truly pay for a ton of advertisement. That's not where we have to spend a lot of money. And I have built patient loyalty to where I've been able to do this. So I started out, so about 3.5 years ago, I was a solo provider. I rented 2 rooms and I had an assistant. So that lasted for about 1.5 years, and I was busting at the seams. So that's when we expanded and rebranded to HaleStorm. We added an office manager, front desk staff, in-house marketing, esthetician, another injector, micropigmentology, and so we grew pretty fast. Currently, we are a staff of 11, which includes everything that I've said, and we have another esthetician as well. So it's kind of been a natural progression of, listening to the demands of our patients and letting it grow naturally, but it's been very consistent with the growth, which we're very happy with.
Cool. So just to unfold everything a little bit more, so you started on just making content basically and kind of built a nice little personal brand, right? And as an injector, correct? I think that was a
That's
lot.
correct.
Yeah, a lot of, okay, I see that.
So I also did, and I still do a little bit of like personal blogging. So it's kind of just an all-encompassing. My nickname is the Beauty Queen. So I was sharing, skincare, makeup, some fashion, lots of education with aesthetics, really getting connected with the community. So Oklahoma City is a big town but a small community. So really getting connected with local businesses, local boutiques, local companies, and just really marketing ourselves. So again, I was in the aesthetic world where he was in the business fundraising world. So between the both of us, were able to merge our contacts and have a lot of growth with outreach.
Cool. Yeah. I have a lot of clients who have done things organically, and I think it's a very demanding thing though, because it requires a lot of your time and it requires a lot of human interaction and a lot of relationship building, and I admire it. I really do. As you guys know, I'm a paid ads first advocate, which is one way to do things. And I do think organic builds a really strong business and a loyal customer base, and that's what you guys did, which is awesome. I personally started my 3 spas, I built them in like 6 months, and like I have my agency, so I was like, hey, we got to run paid ads, right? Like I don't have time to build community engagement. I don't have time to make a ton of content and all that stuff. So that's really awesome, and I'm sure you can attest. I mean, let's talk about like how much time though, and like how much commitment it took from maybe both of you guys to get yourself in front of like your audience and build that reputation, build that trust.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a commitment. Like I'm saying this like it happened overnight, but it was, me pre-booking every single patient before they walked out the door, doing follow-ups to every single patient, 1 to 2 weeks after treatment, to communicate with them. How are you healing? Are you happy? What can I do for you? Doing virtual skincare consultations during COVID and connecting with people on Zoom calls, face-to-face, interpersonal. Having events, lots of events open to the public to get people in the doors to learn more about us.
Making content, making connections, putting your brand out there in front of everything, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing. Let's talk about the brand a little bit. I like it's a play on your last name.
Yeah.
Obviously, does Oklahoma get a lot of hailstorms? Is that
Oh yeah.
okay?
Lots of tornadoes, lots of storms.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Where did the name come from? Like, how'd you guys come up with the brand? I like it. It's catchy. It's different. It's not aesthetic-y per se.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. So I would like to hear a little bit more about that.
So originally my name was the Beauty Queen, and that
That's my nickname
time
too, Kayla. What are you talking?
I love it. The Beauty King, the Beauty King. Um, and that was really fun, really kind of sweet and innocent, is what I say. And I had to go through some challenges. Relationships that didn't work with business partners, difficult relationships with physicians to kind of get to where we are today. And so I kept kind of saying, I've been through the biggest storm of my life for us to open this. And H and S, our logo on Clarke's hat, is actually our son's initials. And so we were playing around with our son's initials. I kind of couldn't figure out a name. And it just kind of hit me one day of like, HaleStorm. Like, we've been through a storm to get here. We're coming back, kind of with a vengeance. We're stronger now than we've ever been. And we're ready, to be, dark, moody, confident in who we are, and ready to rock this. So that's kind of where the name come from. So it's a family business. It's nice to have our children's initials as part of it, and our last name, and it's been good.
Wow, pretty cool. I like that story, and it's different and it's unique. And I think, there's more med spas and coffee shops these days, so
Right.
it's important to have a unique logo. My brand, I called mine Iconic Spa, and it may not be, at the time I was like, there's no way in hell there's no other ones in the area, right? They're like Iconic Spa, but there weren't. I live in the Southeast, and I actually bought iconicspa.com, which was
Love
a
it.
pretty crazy domain to buy. It was like 3 grand. I was like, this is phenomenal. I'm running with this. I think brand is important, and
Yeah.
how other people perceive you is extremely important as well. Um, so you said you're in couple. Were you in salon suites originally?
So I was renting from another like medical spa. So I was utilizing like their equipment as part of my rent and things like that. So just my overhead initially, we were able to save more for our growth and expansion.
Gotcha. So I'll kind of pivot to Clarke for a second here. How I assume Clarke's role is pretty instrumental in like looking at like the P&L, looking at investing. How did you guys kind of like? I think funding is a big thing for a lot of people, right? And a lot of people do. I have a client who was just on this show, and she started with $700, right? And she had a slow growth to 7 figures. And then I have clients who took out and guests who took out loans. I've had clients who came with investors. I have clients who saved up from their other gigs. How did you guys finance everything? And what did that journey look from when you were kind of a solopreneur with an assistant to when you're like, okay, maybe now we need to add more staff, more services or devices?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll go back to what we were saying a while ago. Kayla's been in the business for a while, so that was, it's not like we just all of a sudden we're doing different things. Oh, we want to open up a medical spa. She had, years and years of clientele that she built from the ground up. That she had a loyal customer base. She knows what she's doing. So honestly, from a finance perspective, there was no hesitation or anything like that. We realized what we wanted to do. Kayla was very strategic on who she wanted on her staff, and she went and got them, and they're almost all still here today. 2 years later, there's a lot of turnover in this industry. We haven't had a ton. We have a fantastic staff that just really helps us, and really helps her operate at the level she needs to operate. And we did a lot of it on the fly. We mapped out a plan. We saved for the things we needed to save for, and then we just went for it. We didn't take out any loans. We didn't finance. The only thing we financed is a few devices. But even now, we're not even financing anything else that we buy from this point on. We were very smart in that way, and we've put everything we've had into this business. It's our livelihood. It's our life. Our boys are up here probably way too much, and we've tried to make it our little family space, and it's been a pretty fun ride so far.
Okay, cool. And so let's walk through that growth a little bit more from year one to year two, or like, what would you say, just to kind of maybe summarize, like 3 key things behind the growth from like the solopreneur kind of type of business to actually a 7-figure run rate. Let's talk about some of these things from a maybe staff, marketing, sales perspective. Let's get into that, the meat.
So I think for us financially too is everyone's always like, how do you know when it's time to expand? How do you know when it's time to add staff? For us it was, okay, I want to make sure that I personally, me as a provider, can cover everyone's salaries, while they're growing their clientele, if that kind of makes sense. So we've put a lot of weight on me as a provider, to carry a larger portion of the business, while I was, training and growing other providers. So that what worked for us, because I was consistent, if that kind of makes sense. We knew my personal numbers as a provider, what I could revenue in a year, and what we could afford based off of that. And still, year 2, we're still investing back in our company, so we're not having to take out loans and things upon that sort. So that's really good. I will say, I wanted to bring up this point too, is yes, we have an amazing team, and the way that God has brought together our team to us is really, really cool. That could be a whole pod episode of how did your old medical assistant become your esthetician, and how did your patient become your office manager. But besides that team, we have a great financial team that helps, with our payroll and our monthly reports, to help us balance financially. And we also have a great lawyer. So I think that, again, you can't just decide you want to start a med spa. You have to make sure, besides Clarke and I, that we have other influences, and other people to ask advice to, that we trust their sound advice.
Is the financial and reporting, is that an external provider?
Yes.
Is that someone you want to publicly give a shout out to?
Sure. Yeah, so that's it's E&J Financial, and she's local to the state of Oklahoma, and she's actually was a patient of mine and really encouraged me to take the steps to grow and expand. So she's been we're lucky to work directly with the owner, but she's been very influential on our journey and guiding us to make smart financial decisions for the business.
Yeah, that's really important. I like to talk about how, I started my med spa. We did really well first year. It's a very lean med spa. One of the providers, we did close to $500,000 first year. And the big thing for me was not to keep the money in the business, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people it's potentially out of need, I think, but a lot of people treat their new businesses as ATMs, and they don't realize that like there is a future ahead, and for that future, like, you have to invest. Like, investing is in some ways hedging, right? one of the big things I talked about redundantly, if you've heard any other episodes, I've probably said it a million times, but I say growth now is the best mitigator of future downturns, meaning, put in money now to stay ahead of the competition, because the storms are coming,
Yes,
so to speak, right? And whether it's things you can't control, like economic downturns or catastrophes, whatever it is, and things you can control, right? Whether it's your sales or your marketing or staffing, your clients' results, all those different things. So it's refreshing to see that you guys have made these smart financial decisions, and you kind of have to think about it like, we might not be, balling for a while, if we want to grow, right? Which is an interesting thing in today's society, because we're so gratification driven. They were like, hey, I just want this money so it can, I want to, and I think we should be rewarding ourselves, because I think entrepreneurs work really hard, but it's kind of this like, having this balance of like, no, maybe I could take that money or purchase something else for the business, or hire somebody else for the business, or invest more in particular marketing channel that is doing really well for me.
absolutely. I mean, we are definitely in the investing back in our business phase. I don't think either one of us would have it any other way. We love our team. They're like family to us, and we're gonna take care of them and make sure their families are provided for too, before we do anything in excess for ourselves.
Let's talk about some of these key success growth factors, because I want to dig into that a little bit more. And you kind of, like you said, doesn't happen overnight. And you kind of said, oh, we just started hiring people, and things just grew. Let's talk about services. So I know you're injector. How do you guys break down what is most successful for you guys from a revenue perspective? And then, I understand profitability per service pretty well. So something that is bringing in the most revenue may not always be bringing in the most profit, but it's bringing in a lot of people. So how do you guys break down your revenue right now as far as percentages based between all the things you guys provide?
So, I'm thinking of a lot of things here. So, one thing too that helped with my growth is about three to 3.5 years ago, there was a huge turning point, both personally and professionally. We had been through some of those storms. We had learned a lot. We knew it was time to get even more serious with growth. So I invested, I don't even know how much in training that year, probably $15,000, and flew all over the United States to different practices, saw how different people ran their practices, what worked well for them, what I feel like was going to work well for me. So I started charging like a booking fee. So like initially my booking fee, I think I started at like $75 maybe. Right. And now I'm up to $250, like just to book with me. It's non-refundable. You have to pay it before you can even get on my schedule. Also with that transition, my policy used to be 24 hours, to reschedule or cancel. Now it's 48 business hours.
I need to implement that in my spas immediately.
You do need to implement it immediately.
Isn't it crazy how the last 3 to 4 years that has, no one respects anybody's time these days, right? Come on.
I agree. And I pre-book all of my services, my hair, my lashes, all of my aesthetic services are pre-book. I'm aware that, their time is providing for their family. Like, I don't do this for fun. I do it for fun because I love it. But, I'm here, seeing patients 5 days a week. And if you cancel on me, that's an hour or 2 hours, whatever the appointment may be, that I dedicated towards you. I'm putting my time, my energy, I'm focused on you. I'm not distracted. I don't have other patients. I'm focused on you. And so I demand and expect respect in return. So the booking fee has helped. And then I also started doing treatment plans prior to the visit. So my books were getting so full that I needed to eliminate or decrease in-person consultations and do more work outside of business hours. So I would do phone call consults, virtual consults. I will text message a treatment plan. So that way we're eliminating at least one appointment. You kind of know what I'm thinking, and we already can get an appointment on the books. And a lot of times I can get multiple appointments on the books, right? So let's say the first time I see you, I spend 2 hours with you, we do like full face toxin filler, and then you're already booked for your laser treatment. Say we do 3, and then you're booked for your biostimulator treatment, and then you're booked with my esthetician for facials. So really the comprehensive treatment plan has set apart my growth for the last 3-ish years.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, so feel free to dive in as you wish. So one is, I think the business is heavily reliant on you, it seems, because
Yes.
you're the star of the business, and you tend to be kind of the brand behind it, which could be a double-edged sword, and I think we all know that. So my first question would be, what is your plan of growing the business while having to leverage less of your time and brand?
So that's kind of what we've been working on. I'm actually going on maternity leave in 2 months. So it's been definitely pushing us to take some of that off of me. And so personally, I like to train my own providers to think like me, to train like me, kind of like a clone. So I've been very lucky. One of my patients was in nurse practitioner school, and when she graduated, I just had a impact on her confidence level with the treatments and experiences she had had with me, and she wanted to take the steps to join our med spa. So last year she did a 6-month internship with me, which went great, and we transitioned her to, she's now 3 days a week, which in the aesthetic world is a full-time provider. And so she is well into year 2, and also me closing my books to new patients. So I am at the point where I can be selective on who I take. If you do not want to do my treatment plan and do everything that I recommend in full, then I'm able to pass you on to other providers in my office. So that's been very helpful too, of keeping the patients within our business. They're not going elsewhere, but it's taken some demand off me and allowed her an opportunity to grow in her skills and her patient base.
How are you going to transition, or how are you going to help your staff? You're probably the best salesperson.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is.
I thought it's okay, and that's what happens, right? Like in my agency, I've sold half the accounts in the last 5 years, but it's okay. So the biggest thing is, like, owners, founders, we're the most determined, driven, because we're tied. We have this tied to our business. We know the business in and out. We can sell because it's very conversational. It comes as second nature. What have you been trying to do to duplicate that, at least in some major capacity throughout your staff, so that, let's just say, you do get new consultations while you're gone and you want them to sell treatment plans or retain these clients?
So a couple different things. Number one is to be at a higher level, to function at a high level, you have to be able to let go and delegate. You have to be very good at delegation. So that was also part of Clarke joining the business, is I went to him and I'm like, I can't be a full-time provider and be full-time owner and do payroll and order supplies and do this and do all of that. Like, I have to have your help. Like, if we want to keep this, so that's been one great thing is I'm delegating to him. I'm delegating to our office manager. And then, where was I going with this?
Well, I mean, I'll just speak on behalf of the staff.
Training, staff training.
We do quarterly training for the staff
fine, yep.
on all our products, on how to sell them, how to be well versed in them, and then actually almost weekly we have somebody come in and talk about our products, a specific product with our staff, how to sell it, what sales we have going on. And then our office manager is very organized on a weekly basis of saying, hey, here's what we're pushing this week. Here's where we're short. Here's what we're not, up to speed on. We've got to really, push this product or push this service. So our staff has come a long way on really stepping up and selling, because we're all salespeople. I mean, that's the industry we're in. We're all salespeople. No matter what your title is. If you're not selling, then you're not doing your job. So our entire staff has really bought into that. Really, this calendar year, they've come a long way in doing that.
I'm gonna have this looped, this segment, because I keep saying, I always say, like, I talk to my staff. I have 3 girls in the 3 locations that I own, and I'm like, guys, if you can't sell them, we can't help them, right? Can't sell them, we can't help them. If we can't sell them, we can't be profitable, we can't make commissions. I mean, that's where it starts, right? Like you said,
Sure.
Service providers, we're sales and marketing people. That's really what we are. Of course, there's 2 avenues to go about that. There's one avenue that's more selfish, more selfless. Selfish is like you sell just to close a deal and get the money in the bank. And selfless is like you sell because you understand, hey, I will be able to help you get the best results. And also, I don't want you to go to a competitor because we're going to do a better job for you. And a lot of people, in healthcare and wellness, maybe they just don't understand that, or maybe don't have the right experiences. I think it's really important to be able to, set the right intention for, like, hey, guys, like, we got to sell. We all have to sell. Because ultimately that allows us to everybody wins. The business wins, the employee wins, the client wins, everybody wins. Why not? So, Clarke, I'm glad you said that. I appreciate it. I'm going to highlight that.
I just always tell my staff, it is not your job to determine your patient's budget. It is your job to make the recommendations for the treatment plan of things that they need, right? Be an ethical provider, like you said. We're not being selfish. We are truly recommending what you need. It's my job to do that, and then it's the patient's job to determine what they can afford. But I should never prejudge a patient on if their budget is $500 or $5,000 when they walk in a door. Everybody gets the same treatment plan. I don't care what you walk in looking like, what car you drive, what bag you carry. Like, you're going to get a thorough treatment plan. Every single person that walks in to step in my chair is going to get the same treatment plan that's personalized for them.
Yeah, I like that. And I think the more you can sell somebody on value and what makes you different, what makes you better on the end, on the outcomes, right? Value-based selling, the more you're going to be able to get somebody to open up, to consider more. Because in my opinion, I coach in sales a lot. I've coached 1,000 people in sales by now, and people are always like, oh, they're just like, they couldn't afford it. I think there's certainly people who can afford it, and there's people who don't want to afford it. Absolutely. Because you haven't built the value of what you're going to do for them, right? Pain point based selling, outcome based selling versus just like, hey, buy this 3-pack. Why?
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting ready for maternity leave. So is your staff ready to sell? We got targets in place. Everybody ready to go. All hands on deck. Who's going to take your clients? Like, what's going on? I want to hear this plan.
I mean, the plan is not to be out for super long, so 6 to 8 weeks max is kind of what we're thinking. But
Are we gonna find
um,
another beauty queen? I mean, maybe we just need tell me more.
so our current staff is gonna rock it. They are prepared. So again, we've just made sure that training has been in place consistently since I found out I was pregnant to make sure that they're handling the phone calls, the consultation, the sales, that they're ready procedure based for things. So the plan is I'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks. My nurse practitioner, this is my third child, so a lot of my patients have been through this with me before. So either they're pre-booked before or after I return. If they need care while I'm out, they're seeing my nurse practitioner. So that's all taken care of. I've made sure, like I said, I focus a lot on injectables. So they're up to date on their injectables, and then they're coming in to see my estheticians for chemical peels, facials, some other things to maintain while I'm out. So that's going good. We have our meeting. We've been having meetings with our marketing coordinator, but we're going to have a couple more just to finalize promos, newsletters, everything like that while I'm out as well. We've got an event right before I leave, a huge laser event, our annual laser event. So they'll be able to, start on a lot of those treatments while I'm out. So I feel like we have a pretty good
And
plan.
then
I'll
it's
be
done. And then
back.
no more for Clarke, okay? No more fun for Clarke. Um,
No, I'm taking 6 weeks off too.
there you go.
Paternity leave. Paternity leave.
That's right. So looking forward into the future, do you ever see yourself being out of the business and being just, because there's an amazing book that I've have all my mentees read. It's called the E-Myth Revisited, and it talks about the different. There's 4 different kind of types of people, right? There's the technicians who are just performing things, and then there's the managers who oversee the technicians and interface with the entrepreneurs, and then there's entrepreneurs who are sort of the visionaries who are really typically not good managers, in my opinion. I'm not a great manager. But there's 2 different types of entrepreneurs, right? There's owner operators, and that's kind of the world you're swimming in right now, and that's the world I'm somewhat swimming in as well. And there's owners, right, who are just more so focused on really just purely the financial aspect of things and making sure everything is going smoothly.
Right.
Do you guys ever see yourself in a place where you're like, we're going to be out of this thing and it's going to run on its own, or is it more so like, hey, no, we want to be involved?
I think for me, I will always be involved. I think that ideally I would like to be in a place where I'm just working 2 or 3 days a week, seeing patients, and that's kind of, seeing existing, returning who I want to see. But we still have big goals. I mean, we're only 1 location right now. We desire to have 2 more. Hopefully by year 5 was the plan. And so I think that for us, we definitely see this as more of like a 10-year goal. We're 2 years into our 10-year goal, and then we want to kind of reassess where we're at from there. But I think being an entrepreneur, we all take risks, right? That's what you said. Like, you have to reward yourself because we're the ones with all the liability and we've put in the risk. But also with that comes, sometimes freedom, like you're saying. So for me, I want some freedom with my time in the years to come, with my children. And so I know that putting in the work now is going to allow me to have that freedom in a few years.
Yeah. Let's talk about, you guys have not done much paid advertising to grow your brand and your practice. If you had to boil it down to 3 main things, and then we touched on your content creation and your personal brand, so maybe we can talk about 2 more things that have been really instrumental for driving new business for you guys. Because just because I'm a paid ads growth strategist doesn't mean I don't respect or promote any of the other channels. And I do think that you should be doing multiple things. And I do believe that you guys, there will come a time where you guys will do paid ads. Trust me,
Yeah, absolutely.
it will be there. That's, I think it's kind of inevitable at some point. Um, because it's just like you trade time for money, right? Because instead of
Right.
like doing a lot of organic activities and events and all these different things, you're like, hey, I'm just gonna put in money, and like I know our clients come to us and they're like, hey, we're doing 200K a month, but like we want to add another channel. We're like, all right, here we go, and you trade time for trade time for money or money for time, and then you get a spike that way too. So
Right.
let's talk about a couple more channels that you guys have utilized aside from the beauty queen content, brand, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has been, really honing in on like local companies and local relationships. So like we have a relationship like with our country club, right? Like we're members at our country club. We pay to be a preferred business at our country club. We pay to be listed in advertisements at the country club, booklets, things upon that sort. That's been huge. We are part of our local state scout guide. I don't know if you're familiar with kind of what those are. It's like a local magazine for premier businesses, luxury businesses. So we're affiliated with other businesses, you know, everywhere from boutiques to designers to realtors and things in that market. We partner with local realtors, Brokers Open. We'll show up at Brokers Open to meet those clientele. May not always be me, maybe him, maybe other staff. Maybe we're doing a giveaway with local realtors. A lot of mom promotions, so private school moms. We're connecting with what other? Lots of stuff.
I think the number one driver for new patients in our door at this location is referrals.
Yeah.
I mean, our patients, whenever you do good work, people talk about it, people love it, and they're going to tell people. And in this day and age, everyone's doing this. Everyone's getting Botox. Everyone's doing lasers. Everyone's getting filler. Everyone's on a skincare regimen. And when you're happy with your provider, you're going to tell other people. Kayla has, 5 or 6 or 7 people that have sent her 30, 40, 50 people because they're a hairstylist or they're their own provider in some way, and they talk
Yeah, the strategic partnerships are huge. I think that's a
Yeah.
big thing. I talk about hairstylists a lot because they have some really close relationships with their clients, for example. And if you have a parallel business and you partner with stylists, they're gonna, the hairstylists, if they tell you something, you're running and getting it. So that's definitely smart. Do you guys track like referral rates at all? Like, do you have any?
I haven't pulled any numbers for this year, like how new patients got to us. But again, I think exclusivity is huge, right? Like it's a supply and demand thing, right? Like if I tell you my books are closed, you're gonna really want to see me, right? Because it's like, how do you get in to see Kayla? Like, how are we gonna be a part of that? And so really, we've just created this culture that
So
from
are
the
you like
minute
the top of the funnel? Are you the top?
yeah,
You're the top of the funnel. So are you doing most of the consults, like starting consults, and then you
Yeah.
kind of disseminate to your staff?
yeah.
Interesting.
So people walk in these doors, they're welcomed, by our front desk staff, who's phenomenal. They're all they're made comfortable from the moment they walk in. What drink do you need? What can we do to make you feel at ease? and then you're calmly into the treatment room. Nothing's rushed, everything's calm. We take our time to get to know you personally. And then, yeah, I mean, I wish I could, but I know that I can't service 3,000 patients on my own and see every single one of them. But if I can take the time to introduce myself, to say hi, to make them feel like I'm involved in the treatment plan, they're highly satisfied, I would say.
Yeah. The big thing for you is going to be dissemination of that to other
Correct. So
providers.
yeah, this year's huge. We've taken a lot of steps towards doing that. I'm very happy with where that's going this year. And then next year would be to add another provider and kind of still phase in that pathway. We say this all the time. I don't need another me, right? But do I need 2 or 3 people that combine and do what I do? Yes, I do. To take a
Yeah,
little bit
you
of the weight
always want to
off.
duplicate yourself without having to duplicate yourself.
Yeah.
Um, how much do you guys spend on marketing as part of your revenue? Do you guys have a fixed kind of percentage budget that you look at every single month?
We don't yet. That's something that I've started to dive in with our we call our CFO. Obviously, she's a third party, but just for the simple fact that we haven't had to do a lot of it. But as you noted earlier, we know that that's coming.
Mhm.
We know that if we're going to continue to grow and expand and have different locations and achieve the goals that we're going to achieve, um, we haven't really budgeted anything for that because we just haven't spent that much on it. Just
Mhm.
being honest, we've been very blessed and very fortunate. Again, with Kayla's current patient base and then just the social media, we've leaned in heavily to that. And then, like you said, we've leaned in heavily to strategic partnerships and strategic relationships for referrals. So I'll be interested to talk with you again in a year and kind of run through some numbers on that with you because it's something we're working on. Okay, if we're making this amount of much, and we spend this on marketing, well, we could make this amount.
Mhm.
So we're just now beginning to dive in on those kind of numbers.
Yeah,
I'm sure
good.
you see this too, Neil, but like year one, you're kind of like, you don't really know where to spend marketing money, to be honest. You try a lot of different avenues and some fail and some work. And so that was a lot of last year's like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this magazine print. Let's try this paid social media advertisement. Let's try to get into this fitness fair. Let's show up and have a booth. You're kind of trying all of these different revenues. This year we're repeating some things that we felt like worked well for us, but we're trying one new outlet. But again, I definitely know that that's somewhere where we have room to grow and we have room to learn from.
For sure. For me, it was like I've worked with over 1,000 clients, and I was like, I, I see the good and the bad. I see the good and the bad. I'm like, okay, this has worked for these people. This didn't work for these people. Great. Like, for me, I didn't like this is my primarily business is this. So I was like, okay, if I open up a med spa, well, one, I should be successful because I helped a lot of people, right? Um, so I need to practice what I preach. But then for me, I was like, I don't have the time and energy to build all these million partnerships, to invest in organic, to put myself out there, to be at the country club. Um, so I need to like
Right.
skip that learning curve. Like I don't have much room for error. So, for me, I was like, all right, here's the 3 digital things that I'm gonna do, and then you know, and for the girls, I was like, connect with people that are working around you. So that was, that's kind of what I went with, and it's been pretty working out pretty well. Um, let's get into some fun questions. I don't know if you guys have seen any of these episodes, but I like to throw out some really weird stuff out there because it makes things fun. But let's start a pot a little bit. Kayla, what drives you crazy about Clarke?
Um,
Ooh.
so with the amount of schooling and things that I've done, I'm very good at time management. And that may not be a strength for him. So a lot of times which we've come to like compromises, but when I want things done, I want them done
No.
immediately how I want them done. And so we have learned that to work together, I have to provide a list of things that need to be completed with certain end dates or a timeline for him, and let him do it on his own time frame.
All right.
It's working well.
What about you, Clarke? What drives
You
you?
tell me at home all the time
I don't.
that you don't want to be talked at. Like, I'm not one of your.
Oh yeah. What drives me crazy about Kayla? Honestly, she never stops. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. But she, the times when she can actually stop and relax, I repeatedly ask her what's wrong, because I just don't ever see it. And it's very rarely, but I'll be like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm finally relaxing." But the biggest thing is she never can find her phone. Like, it's like if she sits it down for 3 seconds and walks out the room, it's immediately, she doesn't even try to look for it. It's just, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Everybody in here knows this. The whole staff, I'm sure they can hear us through the wall. They're probably laughing right now because she doesn't even attempt to look for it. She just wants everybody else to find it for her. So,
what is one big piece, the biggest piece of advice you guys would give to entrepreneurs in this space who are looking to scale to 7 figures?
Honestly, for me, I would say focus on patient retention. I think a lot of people think that to make more money, they need to bring more people in the doors. But why don't you make the patients that you have more quality rather than focusing on quantity? I've dealt with that before with some people that I've worked with. We just have different business mindsets. They want to be a Walmart and have 500 people, and I want to be Nordstrom and have 50 people that are quality.
Or just, to your initial point, like if you do have quantity, why not really focus on doing a great job for these people and just making sure that you're retaining them, right? And
That's correct.
Continue to cross-sell them and nurture them and all that stuff. I have this there's this weird attitude with some people. They're like, they almost feel like people should buy from them. And it's like this, I don't know, it's this weird mindset. I'm like, no, you should sell them. You should show them why they should buy from you, right? No one owes you shit. Like, really what it comes down to, right? I don't know, there's this weird entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like, it's a blessing somebody chose you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they could have gone to Starbucks.
yeah.
But they chose a roastery. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I love that advice. A couple of other fun questions, and then we'll work on wrapping this thing up. What is your favorite, Kayla? What is you look like you like luxury brands. What is your favorite non-luxury brand?
Non-luxury brand.
I know, it's a tough question.
Oh. I like Jordans. Are those considered non-luxury? Like night?
They're probably I don't know. They're at least mid-tier. It's not.
Yeah, they're mid-tier.
What is your favorite luxury brand, Kayla? It's easier question for you.
Lately, probably Chanel lately. I'm a big Gucci person as well.
Chanel Chance is the best female perfume on the market, in my opinion.
There you go.
I haven't smelled that one.
You haven't.
It's crack. It's crack, Clarke. Clarke, what is your favorite? If you had to go to one place for the rest of your life, to disconnect, what place would that be?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, I'm gonna go to the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go where I can have a campfire, where I can go fishing, go hunting, unplug from the world. You know, dive into the Bible, get close to God. Yeah, I'm gonna go unplug in the mountains somewhere.
Nice.
That could be
I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains, so
okay. Yeah,
it's a good place to do that.
I'd
Um,
love to come.
let's go. Guys, where can where a big part of my mission through doing this podcast is to be able to promote amazing entrepreneur stories, to promote best practices that we can continue to level up, but also to promote a community, because it does get a little lonely sometimes when you're in this
Absolutely. Yeah.
entrepreneur world. So as part of this podcast, I want to bring more people together, and I want to connect more people to each other so we can continue to help each other. Because if an industry or providers have better reps, I think everybody can win, right? In some ways,
Right.
even though there's competition. So where can people find you to connect with you guys if they want to network, mastermind, whatever it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my personal brand is still Hale, Hale, my last name, the Beauty Queen. And then everything linked with HaleStorm is HaleStorm, HaleStorm. So we're HaleStorm OKC on Instagram, HaleStormAesthetics.com for our URL. My email is linked on both of those as well, and we love to connect. I think that we both have a passion for business consulting and meeting other like-minded entrepreneurs, and just learning things, like you said, from each other of where we can grow and where we fall short.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. Kayla and Clarke Hale, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.